Hi everyone, it's Stereo here. Today's topic probably sparks a lot of controversy, but I do have an opinion, and I do think when it comes to this topic specifically, that my opinion is correct one. I mean, everything I'm going to say, anyone can argue against it, but I'm 100% sure that the way I see it is the only way that's normal to see it. So, as you already saw from the title, it's about characters' age in virtual world in games. And why I'm talking about this topic is because first of all, I'm playing Black Desert Online, where there are a few characters. One of them is so to say underage according to the story. It's 16 years old, Tamer, and another one is, well, I guess around 30 or more years old, Shy, and that Shy is an adult by its age, but by the looks of it, it's more like a kid. And at the same time, even though looks like a kid with crazy big ears, so I don't know, Shies don't even look human, but okay, whatever. And there is another example that I want to use is from a game, Dead or Alive. There is a character named Maria Rose, who is, according to the developers, 18, but people argue that actually it looks younger, or maybe doesn't look younger, but acts younger, or uses fashion that's, I guess, for younger people or whatever. And seeing it from this way, I am actually quite surprised that people care so much about age in games because it's just a made up number. As I just gave an example about Shy in Black Desert Online. I mean, if you think about Shy's age, age is supposed to be 30, but it looks nothing like 30 if you are thinking about how normally people look like. So I would say it looks more like a 10-year-old. But anyway, in that game, the number is supposed to be around 30, so this kind of shows that numbers doesn't matter at all. So okay, numbers aside, what does matter then? Okay, I guess the looks matter to some extent, but first we have to consider that it's all made up world. It's all virtual world. Those are all fictional characters. They don't exist. They have not been born. They don't have real age. They're just made up. And I do understand, okay, when it comes to looks, if a character looks like a 10-year-old and someone sees that character as attractive or something, well, I understand it's slightly weird, but first of all, if somehow they can make that character look more like an adult through a character creator, then I guess the age doesn't have to be 10 anymore. But either way, it may look like an underage. Then, okay, if so, then so. So what? I do understand that it's definitely weird if someone finds a character attractive that definitely looks like below 15 years of age. Then, okay, yeah, it's for sure weird. But then again, those are all made up characters. As I said, Shai in Black Desert Online doesn't even look like human, first of all. Well, somewhat does, but somewhat doesn't. And yeah, second of all, if someone for whatever reason finds it attractive, well, it's weird, but at the same time, they'll call them pedophile or something. Well, I don't know. This is also a bit too much because, first of all, as long as they are not doing anything like this in the real world, when it comes to like seeing actual kids that way or whatever, then I guess it's fine. It's okay. No need to call anyone's names. No need to put labels to anyone just based on what's going on in a virtual world. But okay, moving on from there, there are those characters that, according to story, for example, Tamer is supposed to be 16. Well, for example, I'm playing Tamer, and I do think my Tamer looks attractive. But I created my Tamer. When the Tamer was created by the developers of the game and put into story, well, that's not the tamer I'm playing, because my tamer looks nothing like that one. So if we are not talking about the number 16 anymore, because numbers are just totally made up and doesn't matter, as I just said this based on the example of Shai, then what does matter are looks. And now, if we are talking about looks, Black Desert Online has one of the best character creators, and if my tamer has obviously completely different looks than what it is in the story, and I do understand that my tamer can look 16, 16 years old can look like my tamer, but so can 20-year-old people, or even sometimes 30-year-old people, maybe. Especially, I'm living in Asia, in Japan, and here it's very common that ladies are quite short. There are so many adult ladies who are around 145, 150 centimeter height, and also who look very young, sometimes younger than their real age. Like maybe they're already in their 20s, rarely even in 30s, but they still look like maybe 16 to 18 or whatever. So in that sense, again, I think just because a character looks like they could be 16, but they also could be 20, they could be 25. I mean, that's a matter of perspective, because now again we are talking about a virtual world. And a very good example when it comes to my tamer that I have is that sometimes in Black Desert Online, someone new joins my guild, and then on Discord, maybe we are talking about our characters, then I'm showing my character, and when I'm sending a picture of my tamer, my weapons are hidden, and they cannot see the class. But by the picture, I'm asking them who do they think is my main. And quite often they start by saying, oh, I think it's Lan, I think it's Meva, and so on. But they wouldn't think it's tamer, because yes, it is unusual to see, I guess, a good looking tamer or whatever, or a tamer that looks, I guess, old enough. So this kind of proves that actually just people are too stuck on the fact that, oh, it's 16 by the story. That's why we shouldn't think that it's okay to see it as an attractive character. But yeah, after I tell them actually it's tamer, then they are surprised usually, but they do agree that it's attractive, and most of them do agree that yeah, actually it can be like 20 years old. But of course, there are still some people who just cannot move on. They are like, yeah, but according to story, it's supposed to be 16, so it's still weird to see it as attractive. Well, of course, first of all, we have to consider that there are countries where legal age is 16 plus, not 18 plus. There are even countries where it's lower, but okay, it doesn't matter anyway. My point is not this, but my point is that it's a virtual world. Everything is made up. Nothing exists. I mean, they exist in virtual world, but it's not real life. And just because developers gave the number 16, it means nothing, especially if it has a character creator, and I can make my character look completely different than what it is in the story, and also I can make my character look like it could be older. Then, when it comes to arguing about age, this one, yeah, nothing to argue about, completely made up. When it comes to arguing about height, then again, as I said, in Asia, it's very normal to be like around 140 to 150 centimeter height when you are a lady. As an adult, it's nothing like, oh, but it's too short, so it has to be underage. It's not related. And now, when we are talking about fashion, then, for example, in Japan, among adults, it's common to have something that's called Lolita fashion. I mean, I personally find it a bit weird, but I find it weird because I'm just not into this type of fashion. But again, fashion doesn't determine someone's age. So now we are talking about Dead or Alive's character, Maria Rose, who people are saying uses too much this kind of Lolita fashion. But again, what fashion you use or what's your behavior like, this doesn't determine anything on its own. When it comes to looks, I have one kind of proof that I asked from a Japanese lady who is in her 30s, what does she think about Maria Rose in Dead or Alive? Like I showed many pictures and asked what does she think, how old is the character, and she said maybe like 25. So this kind of also made me understand that so many people are just too stuck on age. First of all, this character is supposed to be 18 anyway, according to developers, but some question that age. If a lady who has never played that game but can see that character without being biased or without thinking anything weird, then just by the face, the looks, the body type, and so on, she said 25. People who think that, oh, must be underage or whatever, just the developers are trying to fool us or whatever. I mean, don't people have anything better to do than try to make it look weird when things are not weird? Another thing that I just mentioned is body type, and especially when it comes to chest size, when it comes to women, right? So, for example, in Dead or Alive game, there are so many female characters who have crazy huge chests. This specific character, Maria Rose, doesn't have a huge chest. And again, there are so many people who think that somehow when you don't have a huge chest, you are underage. But again, there are so many ladies in the world who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and so on, who have a small chest, but they are also old. And also, when it comes to preferences, there are many men who actually prefer a smaller chest size compared to too large chest. It's a matter of preference. It has nothing to do with being a pedophile, being weird, or whatever. It's just preference. And you cannot judge the ladies or those characters in games just by their fashion, just by their height, just by their age, I mean, the number that they have been given, or just by their chest size or whatever. It just doesn't work this way. It's just different body types for different preferences, and that's it. So to me, I'm even feeling like, why do I need to explain something so obvious? Of course, I'm doing this just to have another video on my channel, and I'm just doing this to kind of give my full perspective to the people of how I see the situation and how I see this nonsense. But then again, we have to consider that it's all made up. It doesn't exist. And the fact that people are taking it so seriously in games and yeah, accusing like real people for this and that just doesn't make any sense. It's just a bunch of nonsense. I feel like those people either have a too low IQ or they have nothing better to do than pick on other people for such nonsense that just doesn't even matter. And I'm not trying to say this because I'm playing Tamer in Black Desert Online and I have made a pretty good looking character. I think that all people I have shown to think looks pretty good. And they even agree that, okay, maybe really it doesn't look like 16 anymore or whatever. I mean, again, can be, but point is that not necessarily. Find really weird that people take it so seriously. I guess it was interesting to just say it all out, and I hope it makes sense to you too, because to me it completely makes sense that there is nothing to argue about. It's just all something that doesn't exist and it's all made up, and we shouldn't make it weird when it's not. And all those jokes, the FBI knocking on your door already or whatever. I mean, come on, every time same joke. Just tired of explaining how things really work, how things really look like in a virtual world. It has nothing to do with real world. Anyway, that's it for today. Let me know your thoughts. I hope you understand where I'm coming from with what I'm saying. And I really don't think anything else makes much sense. At least I have never heard anything else that makes sense. But that's it from me today. See you. Take care. Bye.